Okay, okay. Oh, okay, great. Let's go. Right. お願いします。お願いします。Loosen a little bit. Using that one side. Put those a little bit wider. And mirror. And just normal hip width. The toe settle, heels hit the ground, knees release. Springiness through the whole body. And the heels pulls through the body. Just wake up the hands a little bit. Loosen up the mouth. So nice deep breath in. Bring the hands through the center line. Release the spine nice and slowly. All the way down. Release the arms towards the ground. Gentle movement to the spine, just to release, warm up the lower back. And nice and easy in. And out. Nice deep breath in. And right through the center line, like a zip line. All the way down. Couple of nice deep breaths down. And breathing in, coming in. And one last time. Breathing in and out. Through the center line. And just come up kind of halfway. Just kind of rest the hands lightly on the knees, so they're not kind of fully taking the weight. And just feel that you're just going to kind of slowly tuck the pelvis back, so you don't want the pelvis out. Tuck the pelvis here. Just work through these movements. So just like the Seita, just pulse the spine up long, so you're lengthening out, trying to keep the spine neutral, a little bit, even a little bit tucked. Just play with lengthening up. This one will be the head and shoulders lower. Lengthens in the neck. all the spine, long, all the time, trying to keep it down neutral. Pelvis, just gently. Keeping that pelvis there, just play with slightly. The body falls backwards. Got slight, not so big a range of motion here, especially with the pelvis. Tough, but just work within it, that range. The next one, just side to side, sliding the slightly over. And take the weight a little bit more into one hand, one leg. Trying to keep the pelvis neutral or hooked as much as you can. Do a little bit more hook in the ribs. Step the way out and then the rotation. Rotating in. Let the movement really come from the hip now as much as you can. Not a massive amount of motion, not a big range of motion here with the pelvis like this. Just open the pelvis back out, so let the hip come up. And allow the pelvis also to move forward as well. You come back. Full range of motion now back into the hip. Spine be flexible and top, but also nice and solid, connected. Good. So we'll just take this in a few foundation poses. We're going to do, most of them are going to be wide. Okay, so the first ones are wide. You can have it very slightly, the toes will just very subtly in turn, very, very subtly, not this far, but just so that the outside edge of the feet are basically parallel. First one, just find the hip movement out. Hip goes back, drop the hip back, roots and forward. Just do a few kind of lightly, just getting into it. Key thing, hip chops back and the hands reach out. And the hip's responsible for all the movement in this case. And feel that, especially the glutes, your butt muscles, really fire you back up. And once you get that feel for it, just start to do now slowly down, slowly back and out, and then kind of pull yourself back. And you're going to open up the arms at the top of the movement, so really open out full, and then bring yourself back, slowly into it, and then slightly more explosive out. Slowly in. Slightly more explosive out. And just think about the breath you're doing. You're going to breathe in as you go out and down. And start to breathe yourself back out of it. Breathe in. Breathe yourself out of it. In. And the next one, we're just going to hold it. So find that position. Find that position. Just play with the feet. You're going to, as if you want to wrinkle the ground together. So you're pulling the feet together. Pull, 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 pull the feet together. Get a shake in the knees, hopefully in the legs. Take a nice deep breath in. And then just go to the hands. You want to feel that there's kind of equal pressure in all the fingertips. And imagine someone's trying to pull the fingers away. So they're trying to separate the fingers, so you want to press them in so that can't happen. And at the same time, think about the elbows tucking in, so as if they're kind of rolling in together, but keep that pressure in the fingertips. And you're trying to activate the lats and the underneath of the shoulder rather than the traps at the top of the shoulder. So just find that fold, a couple of deep breaths again. And as you pull yourself out, think about spreading the ground away from pulling the feet wide. Pull the body weight back up. Loosen out the spine a little bit. So release all that tension, basically. Good. So you don't want to hold any of the tension from the poses. Once you're out of the pose, you want to drop the tension because it's good for the pose, not good for moving. We'll do lunge here. Just set the hips up so you've got both feet pointing forward, both toes pointing forward. Even a little bit again, slightly in turn, but you don't want the feet, especially the back foot out, that lifts up. Kind of a habit in Aikido that we do that, so try and get the hips square. And the first thing, just lock the knees, just feel the knees lock, and then just release the knees enough so that you feel a kind of springiness in them. So they're not totally released, they're just released enough so that. And try and feel that you've got a 50 to 50% weight. You don't want to be too loaded in the front and too loaded in the back. Okay. Deep breath as you do it. In through the nose. Okay. Okay. Just put the hands at the hips here. Now the key thing with this pose, don't let the knee travel forward so it doesn't bend at all. Just let the hip fold forward and let the body chest stay long. And just pull yourself in and out of that. Just a few here. Hip travels back. And the chest kind of goes over the front leg. And you just want to feel that the back of the leg is kind of activating. Right? So you should feel slightly, not too big of a movement, not too big of a stretch in the front leg. You just want to feel it grounded and can take the weight. So it's there as an anchor or as a support for the body. I'll just test it a little bit. Okay. So you can do the same thing now, but you're going to add a rotation in from the hip. Okay, so just keep the hands at the hips. Again, hip initiates it, so that movement, and then hip again pulls you back out. But you use the grounding in that front foot to pull you back as well. So just rolling in. It's like, I think this is like a line dancing move. Feels like something they do in line dancing with the hands on the hips. But you've basically got a rotation in the hip, and the weight starts to go towards the front. So a few here. So again, we're trying to just get the body to initiate the movement from the hip, or both ways. In this case, just let the eyes kind of naturally, they'll fall about 6 or 8 feet in front. Just let them follow the length in the spine. Good. And the next one, just find that position and then bring the hands up. So you find again that kind of sphere of tension, the fingertips pressing into together. And just feel that the hands and the hips basically start to pull away from each other a little bit. A couple of deep breaths. Okay. Just gently, with that pressure, pull yourself back. There, and just release that hip out. Just the same on the other side. So go again, just shoulder with hips parallel, feet parallel. You just raise the knees up, and then again, just get that kind of springy quality in the legs. So the knees are open, unlocked, and settling weight 50-50 in the body. And stay the hands at the hips, just inclining forward. So you just feel that the body can stay long. The key thing with all these is that the chest doesn't and the head doesn't create the movement, it doesn't do the movement. So feel that the hip, that crease in the hip that folds and brings you back. And you just want to feel that that leg's really an anchor for the body. It's going to take all the weight as you go into the next one. Good, and then again, just circle rotation of the back hip. Because my right leg's forward, the left hip's going to spiral towards the right hip. As the weight, just going to kind of spiral the body into the center, towards the center. Come long, just pulse yourself in and out of it. Pulse out, pulse in, pulse out, great. Pulse in, pulse out, and then next one, hold it, float the hands up and out. Just hold that spiral position. A couple of deep breaths. And just feel a slight kind of pull from the hip and the hands away from each other. Hips traveling a little bit back, hands traveling forwards. One more deep breath. And using that pressure in the ground at the hip, release, pull yourself back up. Good. Good. Shake out the legs. Good. Okay, we'll do one more plus, which is classic one. Really good for us combat. Any kind of combat sport is good. Well, Aikido is a combat sport. Any fighting sport. Fighting activity. That's it. Fighting activity. You're gonna go wide. You're gonna go in gorilla. So this is the only difference with this with the founder. It's a really kind of hinge squat movement. So you're going to let the toes point out again. So very slight, very subtle. Let the toes just point out an angle, not extreme, but just enough to kind of unlock the hips a little bit. So it's similar kind of setup. Just come to this position, bring the hips out, find the hands out. So then you're in your kind of hip fold. Then you're going to go much more deeply into the squat. So let the hands come down, and they're basically lined with the chest. The hands forward. That way. I'm just going to come back a little bit. So the hips are back, and the hands just, if you pull the hands up, they should just be where the chest is here. And then if you inject the hands down into the ground, imagine you're putting them in sand. You basically just press them in. Yeah. And they're not doing too much pressure. They're just kind of floating on the ground. Yeah. You want the head long. And again, just looking about 6 to 8 feet in front. So you shouldn't be looking up and you shouldn't be looking down. You should just be looking out, basically. Okay. From that position, you're going to work with the right hand. You're going to raise the little finger towards the ceiling, like you're twisting it, and then scoop the hand up. So the little finger spirals up towards the top. So this is like supination, and this is described as like holding a bowl of soup, right? Supination. Okay, big bowl of soup in the hand. Hold it, one deep breath. Release the right hand. Go with the left. Spiral the little finger up. Scoop it up. Deep breath in. Bring it back. Right hand. Scoop, reach out. Bring it down. Left hand. Bring it back and do one more. Right hand. You feel you're shrugging down the shoulder. This one, not that. Shrug it down. Hold it. Release it, and left side. One more time. Keep the view out, basically. You do this. Anchor the feet down. Just find the hands again. Find the shin bone. Pull the ground apart and stand up. Okay. Just shake it. Again, release all that tension in the body, especially the legs here. Yes, and the lower back. Just release it out a little bit. Shake the hips. Okay, great. We'll just do a little bit of body movement. So just take a right stance, and we'll just work with some rotation work. So right leg forward, just rotating in. Just finding the left side, and then rotating out. Come back to the right side. Just let the hands kind of follow. Don't worry too much about them. But just trying to get that kind of rolling feeling in the ground. Weight sinks down. Nicely anchored in the feet. And again, hips. Initiate the movement. Same basic principles. And that's it. Just working with that change of direction. Great. Nice. Good. Great. Just start to bring the hands in, but the key thing is that the hands don't infect the movement or where you start the movement from. It's a really obvious, really easiest thing in the world to do now is the hands come in and the hands rotate you into it. So try and feel the hands are really like a slave to the hip work. They're really going to follow. And just play with a little bit of copy work. So you've obviously got a few different movements that you can do. But the key thing is that kind of reaching out and extension out. Feel the hips and the hands basically. Tension the body out. That's it, great. Good. Yeah. One problem with all the, and it gets worse as we go up them, is to look for connection at the end, in the end position, right? But think if you're working connection, you're always connected, right? So the main problem with this side, I'm not connected with the arms, and then I'm not connected, and then I connect. I'm not connected, and then I connect at the end. So don't wait for the end to practice connection, right? It's the same with bottom or anything. So feel that even when you're like this, right, the hands are connecting in, they're just loosely connected, right? And then feel that you connect them in, open the extension out, and then press into it. And then as you rotate, keep them connecting in. So they're kind of softening, they're going through different levels of connection, but they're never disconnected, right? And I'm not waiting for the end to connect and then release, connect and then release. Feel the hands tips always working connection. And it's just the degree of which, how much I'm connecting. In our case, it's like, am I pressing weight through them? Is there a sense of weight underneath in the joint, or am I just loose? Or the opposite of that, am I just tense? Am I holding the weight above this structure? Nice. Yeah, great. Good. And then just challenge that ability to do it with the tenkan. So you're opening it out. Keep the hands moving with this one. Actually, we'll do two. You can do this with a reset. We'll do this two ways. It's actually an interesting movement back as well. So you've got the tenkan, this, and you've also got this back. Yeah. Now, as you do this, you don't do too many of these, because if you do a lot of them, after you do 10, you're totally out. So you can't do anything after that. So play with this, but we do this movement quite a lot. If you think about 𝘰𝘰𝘦𝘴, this movement, yes, we actually use this movement a lot. So you've got the tenkan, which is that rotation, and you've got to kind of step with the rotation this way. There is a Japanese name for it. It slips my mind. It's like Adrian will know probably.
The number one 𝘧𝗪𝗞𝗜𝗠𝗨 exercise that we do, I believe, is called Tenkai.
It's kind of, I was like the Tenkai, right?
Yeah. If you look in the Aikido book by Kissamara, Kaiten is 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪 Tenkai.
Right.
And number 3 is 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪 Tenkan.
𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪. Right. 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪. 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪. Tenkan. All these Japanese words, which all mean rotation or entry, right?
Yeah.
So you're either rotating like that, or you're entering with a turn. You've got turning, rotating, spinning, all these kind of movements. Spinning's a bad one, I think, in English, but turning. As long as you don't gyrate, that's fine. That's it. Okay. And we'll do the last one, so the 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝗪. So this is the entry with a full rotation out. In a way, really one of the difficult ones, although it's motion and a really nice movement to do. Think about it, you're going backwards in space as you need to extend out and forward. So rotation is difficult. The back step's also tricky to kind of get that extension. It's very slow. Either lose the back or lose the forward to it. So try and meet those two directions in the movement, front and back. Arms down. Forward. the same time as you're occupied, trying to balance the body through a tricky rotation. So it's the tricky. Again, you've got all these different hand positions you can play with. Actually, one nice one with this is something you see, they do a lot in California. They do with the hands down, which is also a nice one. So you've got this idea of like the hip and the hands really cut through the space. So you've got like this motion to do. Now, one problem with this, it can create tension. So basically hold the arms and then I move the hips. So try and feel that there's always a kind of subtle or not so subtle flexibility in the arm. The arms will always have that kind of subtle. But my preference is to do like this, where the arms can really find that quality of suppleness. But you can also have the hands down, you can have the hands up as you go into it. You can really feel that connections there. You can, yeah, and you can do the hands up one. Yeah, that's the other one you can do. Yeah. Hands raise up and then cut down. You can really play with this one. Nice. And all these entries, really, they're originally from sword work. The idea is like to get behind someone and cut them down. That's always the goal. The goal's always very simple. Get behind them and cut them, right? Or cut them on the rotation, during the rotation. So these movements have a nice outside wrap, but the core of it's quite not so subtle. Good. And that's what, just play with all of these movements, so move freely with them. Again, feel that the hand and the hip, that's the key connection in these kind of movements. So the hands at the hip, in that sense of a kind of rolling movement through the hip. So rotation work notoriously difficult. Just play with. Just notice when you disconnect and try and find the ground and find the hip. That's always going to be the solution. And that the only question is really like, am I balanced and am I initiating from the hip? Is the hand following the hip or is it doing its own thing? Okay. Nice. So. Yes. Very nice. Good. Okay, good. So I want to take it to Joe, work with some HASSO work, but just before that, I saw a really interesting movement video yesterday. It was with Satomi Sensei in America, and he was having a beer or a coffee, I think it was a beer, and he was teaching two students, and they were just the classic in the cafe, and they were doing Aikido, and he was showing them some Oyowaza. So he was getting this guy to attack the woman, and he was showing her an Oyowaza, which was basically this to bring the palms out and drop the weight of the hips into the arms to bring them down and knee them in the face, basically. So it was actually a really good fit, but it's actually the quality you've got. If I look at like this movement of dropping the weight and extension out, this is like the classic move we do all the time, and we do it in the HASSO too. So it's a nice lead in to do it, but just play with this. You can do either foot forward. You're gonna kind of open the hands out. At the same time, you can drop the leg back this way, or you can just drop the whole body back this way. It doesn't really matter what you do. And in a case Oyowaza, it's just what happens, right? So if someone's attacking me and I move, that's the technique. So in this case, it's like palm up, out, and then think that you drain the hip down into it. And then the knees, I either draw them onto the front knee, boom, or I draw them into the back knee, boom, like that way, right? But I should be free to do both. There's actually a lot of applications or always expressions of my ability to apply the principles under pressure, one thing, but in freedom as well. So they should give me options always. The principles should give me, there shouldn't be limitations for me. They should be available to boom. So if I'm going back and I'm balanced, I should be able to do with either knee. right? I should be able to drop back with either leg. I should just be able to drop the weight back, and whatever the situation. So just play with it a little bit, but it's basically like go, drop, and then the knees basically there, boom. And you can also do this with the hands. The hands can also be there towards the head, boom, and then just press them out. So imagine someone's basically, they're coming to grab you, right, and you drop them down, then boom, you take the head. It's remarkably similar to Tiny Hengo, but a little bit deeper and a little bit wider with the arm work. And this Oiwaza actually, no, so if you think about when we do Oiwaza, and I've got someone pinning the arms to the body, and I can't do this, they don't go anywhere. So I've got to do this, right? I've got to do that move, and then I use it. Yeah. Or when someone's got a grip underneath, and I need to drop the weight this way. So all these applications are actually in the system already. You just need to basically, we need to unlock them basically. Just play with this idea. You should go back. Just you roll the hip, roll down. And you can also open this out so it's not just a step back, it's also a rotation. And then you're really working in 𝘥𝘰𝘦𝘴𝑒 work, so you're rolling down, and I can take the elbow. And the leg's also free that I can use it. So drop weight back, 50-50, so that you can use the legs however you like. So kicks are useful, knees are useful. They need to be available for this, although we don't tend to focus on them. Let me introduce you to my knee, boom, basically. And generally kicks in this side, they're always going to be low. They're always going to be the low knees or low kicks to the ankles, to the shins, basically. You don't really want to kick someone in the face. I don't want to lift my leg up above my hip, basically. If I can avoid it. There we go. Okay, so where we go now. We're going to go and look at the HASSO. So let's see. I'm just going to use a shorter Joe just for the movement, but use your Joe if you can with the ceiling. Okay. So we'll just build it up in a few steps. So the first step with this is just getting that sense that the hip opens the movement. So find the kenkamai in this case, and then just think about unlocking the hip. And the key thing with this, again, it's not that the hand adjusts on the Joe first, it's that the hip opens that connection up. So this hand actually does nothing really, just follows the hip there. So just really simple connection work, but it's like that kind of motion. At the same time, think about spiraling the weight down into the ground. There. Now, as you do that, you're also going to release the back hip, and you're going to set up the foot so that it can receive the weight back. So just don't go back, but just feel that you can start to let the weight settle back. And the key position now is that this hand and this foot, they're going to kind of press there. So just feel that and kind of come in and out of that position. It's quite annoying because I love doing the HASSO, but find that position, find the connection, don't go, but just feel that you can. You feel that option of then I'm going to pull the front hip back is there. And the key thing again, the key word here is balance. So try and find balance in that position. And just feel like you really can go back. You're just choosing not to in this case. So you've got two steps, this and so two steps that come together. I open the grip with the hip and also spiral the weight down. Release the back hip so that I can receive the weight. That's it. Yeah, great. That's it. Okay, next step is getting to the top position. So in this case, really just use the fingertips as you do it. So this hand can grip, but this hand, you allow yourself to use the fingertips only. So you find this position. Now you're in that contact with the jaw. But the main problem is people do this with the palm or this, they try and catch it. So just allow yourself to, in this case, really allow the fingertips just to find this front hand. And feel it, just work your way into it. The hip's going to start to want to move. So as I do this, the hip's pulling back and the hip's going to start to release the jaw. Yeah, so just play now with a kind of step. You're going to kind of pulse in and out of the movement. You're going to pulse back and then through, forward. Find that balanced position. Roll back and then roll forwards. don't let the left hand in this case pass the right hand, just let it, just find it and then roll it back. So it finds it and it rolls it back. Yeah? And it's all done with the fingertip contact. Ooh. That's it. And again, the two key things, hip-led motion of the hand and grounding the body, the balance in that position. Quite an awkward position with the HASSO, especially in this, that fine position. Super asymmetrical position. That's it, nice. Good. Good, good, good. This. That's it. Yes, good. Now complete the movement, but just with the fingertips. So you're only going to go to the round about 45-degree position. This, and then this into this position. But you should just finish just with the fingertips. Yeah. And you can also be light in this hand. You don't need a lot of. If the Joe's balanced in the grip, I actually don't need a lot of. I don't need to be gripping for 𝘵𝘰𝘦𝘴𝘩 into the Joe basically. So the first step's actually more important than not strangling the weapon and just letting it balance in the grip, balance between the hands, and just kind of find that position. The Joe should. I want to feel that the Joe's light first. So I'm trying to connect the body heavily so that the Joe becomes light, rather than I'm kind of heavy in the weapon and the body's disconnected. Just the fingertips. Nice. That's it. Yes, good. Yeah. Okay. One of the main problems with this also watching the hands again, because I'm trying to do something with the hands, and I thought to watch that, especially this one. Really don't watch it. Don't watch the hand at all. So as you do it, just kind of have the vision out, the focus out, and just now let the movement come into one movement. Slowly. Maintain the focus forwards. Yeah, and just feel the hand, but don't think the hand. Just try and feel it. The feeling that there is. The moment I do that, the body spins out. So look for the HASSO, but look for it in your. And it doesn't have to be fast. It just needs to be connected and balanced. Serena, good morning.
Good morning. Are we HASSOing this morning?
No, HASSOing. Just to the 45-degree. And try and make the jaws as light as you can. So you're working really with a very minimal grip and just working basically with the fingertips of the left hand.
Okay.
Whoop. And if you struggle with the space, you can also use a bokken at a pinch. You can use the bokken. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Good. Okay, good. So there's two issues going on. They're related. They're actually the same issue. They're different poles of it. So what if you think about a balanced movement? I basically need to bring the Joe into the core of my body. So the core needs to be supporting the Joe. So the first thing that's happening is pulling into the core and doing this. The movement becomes tight, and then the movement's actually too close to me. So I'm trying to connect by pulling the weapon into, in this case, this too tight. And the other one's throwing the weapon out. So this happened a lot in this part. The Joe splitting from the body, right? So try and just work with it and just notice which one's happening. Either one can happen, and both of them can happen. I can go in and out, so I can pull the weapon in and that push it out. That's the extreme one, right? I pull the weapon out and then I try and pull it back in. These are extremes. Try and find something which isn't working in those. So if you're just feeling that hand should just feel like it can just receive. If it's here, 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 it's all in these walking positions. And they'll only bring tension to the body, so tension will limit.
Thank you, Mike. See you later.
See you later. Very nice, Good. Very good. Okay, let's see. So if you can now take the joke to the ceiling, I can't do it because of my ceiling's too low, even with this one. So find this movement. What I want to focus on now is this all comes together, and then feel that you go into a slightly narrower stance. So if you were to come up to the top, you're in a slightly narrow position. So you're not in this kind of wide position with the joke. You're in a slightly narrow position, and this is going to give you options to step with it. I'm just going to come up to the 45-degree position, but yeah, if you can go to that fully loaded position. But the key thing is now taking that left grip. Yeah, so the grip's actually going to come onto the weapon, and this hand will be open now. We can do 𝘱𝘰𝘀𝘀. I can do 𝘱𝘰𝘀𝘀. Let's see. So you basically finish in this position. So the important thing now is the transition from this grip to this grip, and then this hand can open out. And you end up in this position, which gives you all your options for the 𝘱𝑒𝑖𝑡. So you should feel in that position that you can take it to either or any 𝘱𝑒𝑖𝑡, one of the 5 HASSO ones. Again, the focus is that grip change from the right hand gripping to the left hand, becoming the base hand. Yes. Nice. Good. Nice. Okay, we'll just take it to the first basic 𝘱𝑒𝑖𝑡 with it, and then we'll work with it with some rotations and things. So you've got obviously the strike. So your position is going to be a little bit different from mine, but you've got the same idea. The left hand takes the grip, the right hand's open. The key thing with this position is drawing the hip and the 𝘱 to the center line. So this goes to the center line, and then you're in the strike forward. So just take your time with this, but find the HASSO. You'll be in a higher position if you can, but then the key thing is this: rolling the hip and the sword into the center line. Yeah, and then the hip cuts in. Yeah. So that's your movement pattern with this one. Obviously, it all comes together, but if you can slow that down, so you can really feel this pull towards the center, and yeah, from the hips, classic work from the hip. That's it.
Is that 𝘱𝑰𝑚𝑎𝑛-𝑢chi or 𝘥𝘰𝑦𝑚𝑎𝑛?
Yeah, do this as a showman. If you were to do this fast in a way, the hip would probably open out into more like a 𝘥𝑰𝑚𝑎𝑛 kind of work. But just for that kind of that feeling of finding the center, you can really take this into a showman. In a similar like the cut on the second 𝘱𝑒𝑖𝑡 of the 𝑏okken, that kind of nice pure showman kind of work. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so one thing's happening now, which is in a way is a kind of problem from the teaching aid, or which is this idea of like finding the center, but this thing of pulling to the back. I might have to show this slide as well. Which is, think all the body goes forwards, including the jaw, including the body. So you've got that position. From here. Okay, that. Now watch as I go into the move. You don't want to do this. You don't want to pull the body back. Yeah. So in this case, you've sprung the body up, you're in a kind of tension position, and then you want to release it forwards, right? So as you pull to center, the body's also going forward, but the arms don't pull you back. That's going to create a split in the body. The upper bodies will split off, and then the next move is going to be kind of tension. So think about drawing it, and everything goes forward, basically. Think that you would do this fast, basically. And how would I do it fast? How would that affect the way I do it slowly? Which basically means no. There's a release, but it's not a pullback. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So everything goes in. Think 𝘵𝘠𝘦𝘴𝘩, it's boom. Yeah. That's it. Good. Great.
I go.
Yeah, sure.
The jaw is not actively moving backwards, but because you are moving forwards, it will tilt a little bit backwards.
Yeah. So it's like I release the jaw. So it's like, but the main things like the arms don't pull back with the jaw. I mean, if the arms pull back and the weight of the jaw is with it, that's what causes this kind of this split. It's the same 𝘵𝘠𝘦𝘴. If you think about 𝘵𝘠𝘦𝘴, people do like the arms call, and then the hip tries to go, and they can't go with it. So that feels like I've got it on the course connector, and then the hip just goes forward, basically. It's all these Chinese sayings like where one thing goes forward, everything goes forward, or one thing moves, everything moves. In this case, it's everything goes forward in this one, because that's just where you're going with it. But yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're doing a really annoying subtle exercise. It's like this because what you find your position. Now it's like this. Most of us when we move, we prepare and then we go, right? So just play with this. You can do this forwards or backwards. Backwards is a little bit harder, which is what we're doing with the HASSO. But look at this. I want to go forwards. So I go, and then I go. I want to go backwards. So there's a pre-preparation in the body which goes like, and that pre-preparation is actually you want to listen to that because that pre-preparation is feedback on whether I'm balanced or not, right? Because if I'm not balanced in the body as I want to move forward, either I fall into it or I subtly pull back, find balance, and then go. Yeah. So your body's naturally aligned to work in balance, right? It will find balance for you if I let it. So that the key is actually not to block those movements, those extra movements, but actually listen to them and try and use them to just move basically. And you can just forward, back, you can just sideways, but front and back are the easy directions to look at. But the problem is this: without being rigid, how can I just move? That's basically it. Yeah, so just do this two ways because the tendency is now going to tension. So actually put yourself in tension, which is meant I just do this. Put everything in tension and then I move. That's easy to everything moves in tension. Everything moves as one piece because you're tension, the whole body will move. That's the value of tension. That's why the body goes to tension, because it's trying to keep the body together. Then do it a few times, go like, tense everything, move. Very easy to move together. So people that are tense go like, what's the problem with this exercise? There's no problem, right? Because I'm moving as one piece. You say you are moving as one piece, but you're moving as a block of wood, right? You don't want to be a block of wood. You want to be human. You want to be flexible, right? So the problem is do this hard or do this rigid. Everything's rigid, and then I move. Then see if you can do that with the same thing. Release the arms and do it. Yeah. Actually, tension is also the teacher as well. So loss of balance is a teacher, tension in the body is a teacher, but I need to listen to it. I need to know what I'm looking for, which is actually to be effortless in my movement, hopefully. That's my kind of aim. So but tension will actually teach me a lot about the body as well. Right. Yeah, good. Okay, good. So take that now, that same exercise, do it with the HASSO, right? So again, I can start in tension and then whoop, move as one piece, no problem. Everything goes together, but I'm just tense. The movement becomes blocked. And the opposite of that is that I disconnect the body, or I go forward, pre-prepare the body, and then the body falls back. So just see if you can find, while doing the 𝗧𝗪𝗡 now, that kind of middle space where you're free, grounded, heavy, and connected. Connect. And once you've got that connection, just see if you can take it into more of a flexible form as well. So you obviously got the pause at the HASSO, but you can just follow this through. If I'm connecting the body in to the jerk, into the ground, that movement should really be available. Right. Easily, but slow is good. Slow is better. Yeah, great. Great. Ooh. Who's that? Isabella. Okay. Okay, last few minutes. We're just going to take this to the 13 joke kata, and you all know it, so we're going to go straight into it. I'm going to start in speaker line because I've got a short joke, but just take it into the 13 now with the HASSO included. But you go into this. Ni, san, shi, go, ro, six, hash, ju, juice, juice. And just find your own rhythm with it. You all know the kata. If you have any problems with it, just shout. A, sh, o, Okay. We'll just finish with one form, which actually comes from a variation of the HASSO, working with a thrust and then a strike. So it goes like this. Just work on this last couple of minutes. You go HASSO. You can come up to the top if you can. You got the ski, and then release it into the strike. There. So we'll just work on this one. So you've got HASSO, ski, rolling up into the strike. Lots of kind of connection work. Nice, good hand work, tricky hip work. You get ski to the front, release, boom, and then go through with the strike. So, yeah, how do you do Like that. Oh, with the spear, yeah. So this goes for a variation on the 13, which is done with a spear, because the technique, the kata doesn't quite fit it. So if I've got the spear at the top, I do the first here, and then I roll back with it. And the spear's here. So the tip of the spear is basically in the bottom, the grip. So when I do the kata, the tip ends up here, down. So I'm going to use the tip that way, and then I'm going to bring it back, and then I'm going to use the tip to slash the person with as well. So this is where I end up with the HASSO and the tip of the spear down, pointing down. And I use the tip, I roll it back, the tip's at the top, and I use it to slice with.
Little Red.
Oh, Margaret Atwood. Okay, I'll just show you the clip. I got 1 minute. Margaret Atwood. Ignore Margaret Atwood. Wait for the advert. Wait for the advert. Wait for the advert. Go away. There you go. Okay, this is the kata. Yeah. This is a modification of the kata for spear. This is it. There. And there. I think one more time. There's the spear. So the spear tip now is down. You use the tip, boom. Back. Use the tip, boom. Roll, and the rest of the kata is normal. Use the back end, butt end, back, finish. That's that. That's the Kyo kata. 13 with a spear. Nice kata to do. Yeah. And that spear's a copy of a spear that O-sensei had in the dojo really well. That was one of his. You can see it in some of the pictures of it. Okay. Okie dokie. We will stop there. Okay. We're over time. If you have any questions, let me know about that. It's an interesting kata. Okay. Very good. Great. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Right, there we go.